This is CBC Here and Now.
It was like the fairy godmother granted the greatest wish to Cinderella.
Phil Riggs from Glovertown has written a charming book about acts of kindness, and I'm going to give you a chance to win one of those books coming up on Here and Now.
It has been a mild December, but where will we rank among the warmest?
Good evening and welcome back to Here and Now after Christmas. I'm Anthony Germain. Hope you're enjoying a great holiday. We're going to start tonight with an update on COVID cases in the province, as well as a vaccine that's on its way. There is one new case of COVID-19 in Newfoundland and Labrador today as the province eagerly awaits its shipment of the Moderna vaccine. Moderna first arrived in Canada on Christmas Eve. As Here Now's Heather Gillis reports, the health minister says that vaccine could arrive anytime now.
Public Health is performing contact tracing. Today in the eastern region, a man in his 40s is the latest case of COVID-19. There are now 19 active cases, one person is in hospital, and nearly 72,000 people have been tested as the province awaits the arrival of the Moderna vaccine. The first shipments landed in the Yukon and Northwest Territories yesterday. Doses destined for this province will arrive in Happy Valley Goose Bay sometime between now and New Year's Eve. Because Moderna doesn't need to be stored in ultra-cold conditions, it's easier to transport to isolated areas along Labrador's north coast, says the health minister.
So basically Black Tickle and Norman Bay, but then north all the way up to Nain will be the first recipients. So they're going to be divided between Nunatsiavut, Labrador Grenfell and Mushwa Innu First Nation.
He says discussions are now underway with Nunatuavut for delivery along the south coast of Labrador. But he cautions there's no set schedule for Moderna shipments after the next one arrives on January 11th. Once Happy Valley Goose Bay's super cold freezers are running, the next Pfizer doses will also head to Labrador. And they're having discussions with Pfizer about when and how they can distribute that vaccine once it lands.
One of the challenges we have, particularly with the Pfizer vaccine at the moment, is they're not letting us move it around. Once it's arrived in, say, St. John's or Gander or wherever, it stays in the vaccine depot there and is only thawed out on demand. So we're having to bring people to the vaccine. That's not practical when you look at people, for example, who are in long-term care. And who are subject to significant mobility issues. So we're going to work with Pfizer to find out when they're going to lift that and indeed how they're going to do it. I know the Atlantic Medical Officers of Health and the national group have been discussing these kind of things over the course of the last week, because that really hamstrings us once we get past the essential workers.
All but 165 people working in the COVID-19 unit and ICUs in the Eastern Health region have been vaccinated against COVID-19. The minister says he's not aware of anyone having an adverse reaction to the vaccine. He says the vaccine committee is now figuring out which groups to vaccinate next. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Meanwhile, the province is issuing another advisory for people who flew into the province a week ago today. Anyone aboard Air Canada Flight 8880 from Halifax to Deer Lake on Tuesday, December 22nd is being asked to call 811 to arrange for some COVID testing. Public Health says it's asking passengers to call in out of an abundance of caution and because of the case that was reported in the Western Health region on Sunday. Well, Alberta has reached a grim pandemic threshold. It has now recorded more than 1,000 virus-related deaths, and half of those came in the past month. Now, this is Edmonton. Alberta's health minister says a new field hospital being set up on the University of Alberta campus is going to be operational by next month. The temporary 100-bed unit will only be used if current hospital limits are reached. The Red Cross helped to set up the 100-bed center. If needed, it would be used for non-critical patients as well as patients who are recovering from COVID-19 but who are considered a low risk for transmission. Alberta currently has the highest rate of COVID-19 hospitalization of all the provinces, with nearly 200 patients in hospital for every 1 million residents.
Well, that was a fairly mild Christmas break, and not so great if you were hoping for some snow and enjoying that, but it has been a warm December for most of us here in St. John's. In fact, let's take a look at those numbers. 2.4 degrees was our average temperature through most of December. If that continues, it looks like we're going to rank third as the third warmest December on record. Today, no different. Temperatures anywhere from 1 to 6 degrees for most of the island, the warmest being in the west. And then we've got chilly temperatures in Lab West continuing. -8 was the afternoon high in Lab City. Now we do have an area of low pressure that's bringing some showers for most of us and the potential for some flurries as we head through the overnight tonight, some accumulating snow in some areas as well. But I'll have all those details coming up.
Well, two young rising hockey stars from this province are stealing the show at the World Juniors in Alberta. Alex Newhook from St. John's, as well as Dawson Mercer from Bay Roberts, have between them now scored 8 points in just 2 games. As Team Canada heads into Game 3 tonight, our Cease Hare has more on a local family that is beaming with pride.
He lost his balance there for a moment. Kicked out of the side of the goal, and Mercer scored! Fitzy stumbles. Jerry takes advantage of the short-handed goal for Dawson Mercer.
He's the hometown hero of Bay Roberts, Conception Bay.
The cousins, the aunts and uncle, minus the Bennetts, were all still together, and they're pretty passionate. Loud would be an understatement for sure.
Uncle Bo Bennett coached his nephew for years and could sense from the first shift he's ready.
We're waiting, but me, I'm waiting, and I look at my wife and I say, when those blades touch the ice, look out. In true Dawson fashion, relentless on the puck, goes over. As soon as he seen that goaltender stumble, Dawson went to high gear right away, and he's got such a strong stick. One little tap with his stick, and next thing, here he is, and putting it in the back of the net, scoring a huge goal for Canada.
In that blowout game against Germany, Mercer and Alex Newhook of St. John's combined for 7 points. Both scored 2 goals. And on Sunday against Slovakia, Mercer assisted on Canada's first goal of the game in the 3-1 win. That's 2 wins in a row, icing on the Christmas cake for family back home, though COVID's taken some of the fun as they watch from afar.
The single biggest disappointment for a lot of people here, a lot of people were trying to get tickets and wanted to attend, and which obviously it's a big undertaking for anyone to leave Newfoundland to go to Western Canada. But I do know we had some friends and family that definitely would have loved to be there this year, and so that's a disappointment for sure.
And that's not all. The pandemic's also had an impact on team practices, making it tough for players to prepare for the major tournaments.
There was no practice. The only training was done via Zoom, just like you and I are right now. And they would train on their own. There's no buddies in the rooms. There was no out around in a bubble. There was just 14 days in a room. It's a huge sacrifice for these young men.
Team Canada had the day off Monday, but are back on the ice tonight. That's 7:30 Island time, 7 o'clock in most parts of Labrador. Cease Hare, CBC News, St. John's.
A lot of people watching that game for sure. Now to some other news. A number of impaired driving charges to report tonight in the midst of the holiday season. Here are just some of them. A 33-year-old woman was charged with impaired driving after a rollover on Pitts Memorial Drive in Mount Pearl last night. Police found the vehicle on its side in the median shortly before 10 o'clock. It had rolled several times. No one was injured. A 58-year-old man from the Burin Peninsula was arrested for impaired driving near Veterans Memorial Highway. That happened on December 23rd at around noon. Breath samples say the man was 3 times the legal limit. And that's not all. A 34-year-old woman from Paradise blew nearly twice the legal limit on the TCH near Soldiers Pond yesterday afternoon. She also faces charges for excessive speeding. The car was going more than 150 kilometers per hour. Also yesterday, a 17-year-old was stopped in Avondale. He is facing drug-impaired driving charges. RCMP and Bay St. George have arrested 3 impaired drivers as well. This since Christmas Eve. 2 men and a woman face charges. They range in age from 37 to 71. Latour Bay Business is giving away firewood for the 4th year in a row. Firewood Factory NL has been running their Warm Hearts campaign since 2016. And they find people who need help and then load them up with firewood. Owner Luke Jane says having a wood stove going or a fireplace lit provides comfort and company for people who need it.
Main people that we've sent it out to are seniors and some cancer survivors. A few of the seniors have had significant others pass away recently, and they were kind of the ones that used to look after the firewood, so now they've kind of been left holding the bag. So it's just something we can send out to them to make their season a little easier, and they don't have to worry about the firewood.
Well, we've been talking a lot about kindness of late with our kindness campaign. You can still donate until the end of the month. Well, Phil Riggs has written a book about acts of kindness. So, Phil, what was the motivation for this book?
About 2 years ago, somebody gave me a story about, it was a Santa Claus story. And shortly after that, I mentioned to some people that I thought I would write a book about random acts of kindness. And everybody sent me their stories or told me their stories. And when I had them done, I would send them back and get their approval. And if everything was okay. And basically, I tried to keep their stories as exact as they had told me.
Okay, so the book is just out, and I'll give details on how people can win one of these in a bit.
Yeah.
Give me one story without giving away the whole book.
This is a story about a young girl down in Labrador, and she left Spotted Islands and she started school in Cartwright, in the dormitory in Cartwright, where there was about 50 children. So she had to get used to those children, and she was just about to get sort of settled away, and she got TB, and she had to go out to the sanatorium in St. Anthony for 18 months. Now, we call it the sand, and this young girl thought she was going to go out to St. Anthony and play in the sand. Of course, when she got out to St. Anthony, it was much, much different. She was a child and the rest were all adults. So basically, she was very unsettled. But there was an Inuit woman there who sort of took her under her wing. She had beads, and she had an Inuit doll, and she played with it. Then some of the workers, they took her under their wing and they showed her how to sew. And there was a gentleman there who was on a level just above her. And I don't know if he was thinking about his grandchildren or his children, but anyway, he sort of, I suppose, took a liking to her or whatever. But the thing was that a person used to come into the sand and they'd sell ice cream. Now here was a young girl who was dying to get an ice cream, but of course she couldn't afford it because it was 5 cents. She didn't have a cent on her, right? But as she was drooling and thinking about the impossible dream, this gentleman lowered down a matchbox to her. And she opened up the matchbox, and inside the matchbox was a shiny nickel. And she went and had her ice cream. It was like the fairy godmother granted the greatest wish to Cinderella.
Okay, great story, random acts of kindness. Phil Riggs, thank you very much, and Happy New Year.
Thank you kindly.
Great story. Now, Phil Riggs' book, his grandchildren did the art, by the way, that you saw. That's available in stores in the Glovertown area, as well as the Coles in the Village Mall here in St. John's. Now, I'm going to give 2 of these away right now. You'll see the number there on the screen, and all you have to do is call that number, and if you recognize this person, you tell me, all right? 709-685-2600. Give me a call right now. Tell me who is that man on the screen, and I'll give you a copy of this book. Now, also on Twitter, don't want to leave out the Twitter people, the first person to answer me at Anthony Germain, that's at Anthony Germain. Okay, we've got a caller already. Let's see who this is now. All right. Hello there. Who am I speaking with? Where are you calling from? Okay. Well, listen, Corrine, you stay on hold here. We got to go to a commercial. Okay, stay on hold. We'll be right back. Okay, folks, the phone's dissolving. The two winners have been chosen. You can stop calling now, but thanks a lot. Let's find out what's happening with the weather. Welcome, Ashley. After the big holiday, Ashley, on Christmas, you and I could have gone golfing. It was so nice and bizarrely warm on Christmas. A little cooler today, though.
Yeah, we reached the double digits Christmas Day. Even yesterday we started to see those temperatures drop. But today, yes, cooler. We did see some sunshine to start. Currently seeing those temperatures starting to drop as well. Let's take a look at those. 0 degrees here in St. John's. And the temperatures are starting to drop on the west coast down to about 4 degrees for Corner Brook, 0 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and Lab City down to -16. Now, temperatures are going to be opposite. We're going to start to see those temperatures drop on the west coast tonight and then warm up in the east as we head through the overnight. Here's a look at the current satellite and radar. Some rain on the west coast, and we're going to see that generally continue over the next few hours, but as those temperatures drop, we're going to start to see things change over to snow for most of the west coast, northern peninsula, coastal Labrador, as well as central Labrador. Anything east, it looks like of Gander overnight should fall, either start as snow and then change over to rain, or fall all as rain through the afternoon, which could be heavy at times as we head towards the early morning hours. Heaviest snowfall from Red Bay to Lanzaclaire, anywhere from 15 to 25 centimeters, the higher amount further inland tonight. And otherwise, accumulations traced to 5 centimeters is a good bet. Higher elevations may see closer to 5 to 10. Around central Labrador, you're looking at about 10 to 15 centimeters of snow as well. And as you can see there, right along the strait, that's where that highest accumulation of snow. This brings us through to tomorrow afternoon. Going to pick up a couple more centimeters, certainly in those higher elevations, bringing those accumulations somewhere closer to 10 to 15 centimeters. There's those temperatures I was talking about, down to the minus single digits on the west coast, with the winds out of the southwest, 20 to 40 kilometers per hour, and then climbing as we head towards midnight into the single digits on eastern areas of the island. We're looking at southeasterlies, 15 to 20 kilometers per hour, and then dropping down to minus 22 tonight for Lab City with some flurries on the go. Then you'll see some clearing. Tomorrow afternoon, the flurries will continue. Like I said, a couple more centimeters possible. Some sunshine through central and eastern portions of the island, but then the potential for some flurries will move back in towards the evening hours. Scattered flurries certainly possible with clearing skies through most of Labrador, and then into the evening hours, towards the early morning hours, you'll see the potential for some snow move in back in for Lab West, with your temperatures hovering around minus 16. Overall, temperatures will be the warmest through the morning, and then you're going to see them drop through the day for central and eastern areas of the island down to about -1, -2. It will be breezy, anywhere from 30 to 50 kilometer per hour winds expected tomorrow, and then again that lingering flurry activity along the west coast. Now, looking ahead to New Year's Eve, it's looking a little bit messy, so some flurries and or showers possible along the west coast. Through central, this will fall as flurries in the morning, and then temperatures will climb flurries or light snow rather, 2 to 4 degrees. And then for the east, you're looking at showers to start, and then changing over to the chance of some flurries for St. John. 0 degrees, sunshine should peak out as well, but into the evening hours, temperatures will drop to the minus single digits. New Year's Day looking much cooler. The flurry activity potential for eastern areas. Sunshine through central, and then flurries again along the west coast. Temperatures dropping down to the minus double digits for most of Labrador on Friday. Happy Valley, Goose Bay, you're looking at a high near minus 13. Now, we are looking at temperatures hovering near or just below 0 as we head towards the beginning of next week. Saturday looks okay at this point with some sunshine, -3, and then climbing to about 0 degrees. This is when we could see some snow through the day on Sunday. Light snow at this point. 0 degrees will be the afternoon high, or at least hovering around the 0 degree mark. Central Newfoundland, similar forecast. Friday, Saturday look quiet, then the potential for some flurries will move in on Sunday. Same thing for Western Newfoundland. A few peaks of sun on Saturday, but still the potential for some flurries. For Eastern Labrador, quiet Friday, Saturday, temperatures in the minus teens, warming up a little bit as we head towards the end of the weekend. But overall, Western Labrador, your temperature will be hovering anywhere from -11 to -15 as you head towards the weekend. Wanted to share this photo. This looks like the middle of summer. Flat calm at sunset in Long Harbour last night. Certainly a beautiful evening. Carol and Earl Burke shared that one with us. If you have any weather photos to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Okay, well, you may have noticed, okay, I'm going to turn that ringer off, I guess. Here and Now has been highlighting some of the brighter stories to come out of 2020. And the pandemic has certainly brought a lot of stress and uncertainty. So it's important for us to focus on the positive as well. And so tonight we're going to take a look at a story about a couple from Bangladesh and how they had to completely pivot when it came to planning their wedding.
We were very heartbroken at the beginning that we had to change everything.
But then we had our friends here who actually planned so many amazing events for us.
This weekend we had my mehendi ceremony, which is also like a Bengali traditional bridal shower, you can say. Like the bride puts on henna on her hands and there are games and fun. And that was actually organized by my maid of honor, Brianna. And she learned a lot about, like she researched and learned about the different games we play at these events. And she organized it all by herself.
a lot of them had to wear traditional clothes that we used to wear back home, and they have learned those by watching YouTube videos. They're also learning different type of dance we usually do in traditional wedding. And I'm truly grateful for all of them who just came and envisioned the type of wedding we are actually planning to do back home.
I just want to say we are truly grateful. That's all I feel all the time, because even though it's not the wedding of my dreams, but it is sort of the wedding of my dreams, because they're taking care of all the little details. The only two things that are missing are the big guest list and my parents. Even though it is a difficult time and unprecedented times, but everyone coming together makes it very special for us, and we will always remember this.
Well, there's no question the people of Port de Grave love Christmas. Every year, the harbour is famously lit up as fishing boats are decorated like festive Christmas trees. Now, of course, with COVID, some adjustments had to be made. The Heritage Society held off on renovating its tea room, for example, and they found another way to safely serve up food for visitors.
I was out in the boat myself, and our husband, when he was a boy, he drifted out, and I went out and got him. Now, when I came home and retired, and I met Gus, he asked me if I remembered the day that I came out and got him, and I could not remember it. See, to him, I rescued him. But it was just a day in the life of the world for me. I mean, there's nothing big about that. It's just a day in the life of the world. It's part of the bygone sweet forever. We don't remember everything, unfortunately.
It's a different year for us this year. There's lots of challenges with the COVID and that, so we haven't been able to do things that we want to, and we try to follow the guideline to make sure we don't do anything wrong. So we haven't had any set downs, so that made a difference. But now we've decided this year, Thursday night, for the boat lighting, we served takeouts from here, which was successful. And today we're doing a takeout turkey dinner, and everything is social distancing so to do the safe way.
You get the pudding, the peas pudding, the cabbage, the turkey, the gravy, and all the veggies, and it looks like a splendid dessert there. And since boat lighting in Port de Grave, which happened on Friday night, the traffic has been excessive. I mean, there will be thousands of cars over the season to come and see. First, they'll see our crab tree, and then they'll go 6-7 kilometers down to the Port de Grave Harbour and see all the fishing boats lit up. That's really a spectacular view.
This year we've done for the very first time the snow crab pot Christmas tree. And so we figured, well, why not make it, large? Why don't we make it a big attraction? So it's 475 crab pots in this crab pot Christmas tree. And so we've done it as a way of raising funds. Well, it is a little different. We have to keep social distancing in mind and wearing masks and doing things safely, because we're all very concerned about doing things safely. So it is a bit of an adjustment. But we have to have the right attitude of finding the things we can be doing. And when we do that, well then it's how we can bring joy to other people and to do something different. And if it is to come and see the Christmas tree, the crab pot Christmas tree, and then pick up your takeout while you're down this way. So it's also a need because people are driving maybe from St. John's, it's about a 1 hour drive. So at least they can pick up some food while they're there as well.
You guys have all known each other for a long time then?
Yes. Since we joined the Heritage Society, and that was, it was reorganized, I guess, in 2016. Since then, we've worked willingly together, and we've done many things, and we've become really good friends as a Heritage Society.
We click.
We click.
Yeah. In Newfie terms, we really click.
Yes, we have meetings, but we enjoy the social aspect of it.
Yeah.
We've given away the books now. All right, there we go. Yes, those books have been given away. Well, this would be the time for kitchen parties all across Newfoundland and Labrador. If you think about it, those memories, houses packed with friends, And music. Lots of music on the phone tonight. Now, it's something that we can't do during a pandemic. No house parties, no kitchen parties. Tonight, we're looking back at one of the traditions that we lost in 2020. Now, Chris Andrews takes us back to another time. This is from video that was shot in 2007, but all these years, the scenes that were shot, they've been stored away and waiting for the right time to come to light, and now is certainly that time. So that's it for me tonight. First, I'll remind you to send us your birthday and anniversary greetings early this week. We'll be airing them tomorrow night rather than Friday because of the holidays. So now, Chris Andrews with All Hands Together. Good night.
Northeast of Newfoundland's capital city, St. John's, in a deeply indented cove, lies the beautiful and historic Flat Rock. Settled in 1762 by the Irish as a fishing village, the community still thrives today as it looks to its future, but never forgets its past. Its name is derived from the rock formations in the area and has amazing scenery and walking trails, and was even visited by the Pope in September of 1984. Where he blessed the fishing fleet, and also the famous grotto constructed by the locals after the parish priest returned from a trip to France in 1954. But for this show, we're going to focus on the event that happens in all the communities of our province, but have been put on pause for the first time in a century. Hi, I'm Chris Andrews, and I'm here in beautiful Flat Rock. In 2007, myself and Mark and videographer Jerry Boland shot a kitchen party here in Flat Rock at Aunt Mark Maynard's house. It was an amazing time. Now in these COVID times, we're unable to do this, but let's go back and relive a magical evening in Aunt Mark's kitchen, all hands together. Nestled among the trees on the back road is the home of Mrs. Mark Maynard and the late Mr. Harry Maynard. At the age of 89, Aunt Mark welcomed us all into her kitchen, where she and Harry raised their 11 children on the family homestead, built by Harry's father and uncle in the 1880s. A place of many kitchen parties, but none quite like this one. How are you doing, Miss Maynard?
Very good.
Oh, you look great, that's for sure.
For an old woman?
Not at all, not at all. Ms. Maynard, when you see something like this happen tonight, like, you know, does it give you memories of past years ago when there used to be parties in the kitchen and people dancing and singing?
Years ago, I was in the kitchen. Anyone come in Christmas times, they all hands get out and dance, and some will have music with them. If not, there will be music in the house. All hands together.
He nearly woke the corpse up when he began to yell. Oh, I had a hat when I came in, I hung it on the rack. And I had a hat when I go out or I break somebody's back. I'm a decent man, I am, and I don't want this show. I say, but I had a hat when I came in, and I had a hat when I go out.
We're here now with something pretty special. We got some lovely guests here. Remember Mrs. Maynard here? We were talking to her earlier. God love her. And Mr. Michael Houlihan, Mr. Chris Kavanagh behind, Mr. Fergus Martin back there, Fergie Martin. They're going to give us a few old tunes. It's going to be great. It's hard to believe that this is where it all happened. So much life was lived, so many good times were had, right here in this little square. When you see the video and you see all the people that were in here and the kids were looking in through the windows, that's something I'll never forget. And there was people everywhere. And the dancing and singing. It was always a good time here at Mrs. Maynard's. She was always so welcoming and so nice. She'd be sat in the corner by her table. When Mr. Maynard was alive, he'd be on the daybed in the kitchen. The memories are amazing, and that's why we're so lucky to have this and be able to do this and enjoy a night in Aunt Mark's kitchen. And we all know now you're a good hand to sing a few songs yourself.
Oh, now who started that? Yes, that Mary.
Well, maybe if we're lucky later on, we might get a song out of you.
If you're lucky. There is a tree in my father's green garden. Some people call it the navy true blue. But when it blooms out on a cold winter's morning, they're all false lovers and surely prove true.
In the kitchen, everyone had their song. Some people like Mr. Michael Houlihan had many. Mike's a lifelong Flat Rock resident, and at the date of this broadcast in 2020 is the oldest man in Flat Rock.
Patrick McGinty, an Irishman of note, fell into a fortune, he bought himself a goat. Says he now for goat's milk, I mean to have my fill. And sure when he brought the nanny home, he found it was a bill. And now all the ladies who lived in Killaloe, all were the boasters like their mothers used to do. They each wear a bolster beneath their petticoat. You can leave the rest to Providence and Paddy McGinty's gold. All in Nora McCarty, and at about the time she hung up all her underthings, put them out to dry. Along came the goat, and he saw the bits of white, and they all went up in federals upon her wedding night. Not and turn out the lights, right there she said to pass, although I am your bride, I'm not worth looking at. I have only two of everything, told you when I wrote, and all I got tonight to see, Paddy McGinty's goat.
Paddy McGinty's goat there. Next up is Mr. Fergus Martin. Fergie was a quadruple threat. He could sing, dance, write a great song, and play a fine accordion. Here he is with I've Only Been Out with the Boys.
I'm ready. How can you be ready? Me and you're ready. Me and you're ready. Me and you're always ready. Ready. Sure, I've only been out with the boys, my dear. Kicked up a noise and got the beer. That is the reason I act so queer. I've only been out with the boys. Good luck, Fergie. I sit myself down on the sofa while she'll have a short little cry. And then if she growls or grumbles, oh, this to her I reply, I've only been out with the boys, my dear. We went down to Harry's and got on the beer. That is the reason I act so queer. I've only been out with the boys. Sure, now I am going to tell you that she will go home to her dad. And then for a joke I will ask her, oh, please come and light my cigar. Oh, yes. I've only been out with the boys, my dear. We went down to Harry's and got the beer. That is the reason I act so queer. I've only been out with the boys. Right up.
Fine job as always, Fergie. The party continues on with Nix and Joe Power singing The Berries, a fiddle tune from Chris Kavanagh, a very young Justin Martin and his twin brother for an accordion tune, and our great friend Madonna Wilkinson.
Now these were the finest berries that ever grew last fall. Every heart as big as a turnip, every plum as big as a barrel. You can stir them in your skillet, in your crocks, put them away, and they'll keep your lips boots a smacking on from this till New Year's Day. Come along, come along, come along, I say. Come along, and buy from me, I pray. Well, I can't say, come along, come along, come along, by Job. She's the only boat got berries, and you'll find her in the cove.
This lawn was full of people. I mean, what you see in the house was all that could fit, but there was tons of people out here, and there was probably 100 people here that night. And the party was all over, but the place to be was in the kitchen. We used to go over and visit Mrs. Maynard, and we'd always sing her a few songs. And we realized how much the wealth of traditional music was here in Flat Rock. And it was amazing how they held on so tight to it. It was one of those magical things. Next was a true gentleman. Here's one of the most respected men in Flat Rock, Mr. Chris Kavanagh, to sing Tread on the Tail of Me Coat. Aha.
I first learned my reading and writing at Belragan, where I went to school. It was there I first took to me fighting with the schoolmaster Mickey O'Toole. Him and me had many a scrimmage, but devil a lesson I wrote. If you're in for a row or a ruction, you just tread on the tail of me coat. Oh yeah. Oh, tread on the tail of me coat. Ah, tread on the tail of me coat. If you're in for a row or a ruction, you just tread on the tail of me coat. One box trotter, Mickey O'Malley, tried to steal my best girl away. He had money, but I hadn't any, so a challenge I sent him next day. Well, we met the next morn at Killelea, and the Shannon we crossed in a boat, and I laddered him with my shillelagh, for he tread on the tail of me coat. Here we go, oh, tread on the tail of me coat. Ah, tread on the tail of me coat. If you're in for a row or a ruction, you just tread on the tail of me coat. Well, me name spread over the nation, and sure flag hangs all flocked to see me, and they cried out without hesitation, you're a fighting man, Mickey, Mickey. Well, I fought in the Linnegan fashion, and I drove the opponents afloat, for I laddered them with my shillelagh when they tread on the tail of me coat. Oh, tread on the tail of me coat. Oh, tread on the tail of me coat. If you're in for a row or a ruction, you just tread on the tail of me coat. Oh, tread on the tail of me coat. Tread on the tail of me coat. If you're in for a row or a ruction, you just tread on the tail of me coat.
You don't need an accordion to have a great kitchen party, but it's some good when there's a couple there. Here's Mark and Joe Power with some accordion tunes to finish off the night. much, Mrs. Maynard.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
letting us come to your
Thanks a lot
kitchen.
for coming here
Oh, anytime.
and being so good to me.
You're a great friend of ours.
Oh, yes, and we're all a good friend of yours.
Oh, God love you. Thank you very
Well,
much.
I hope so.
You certainly were a good friend of ours, Aunt Marg, and we cherished every moment in your kitchen. The kitchen has been a gathering place in the home since the beginning of our existence. Whether for food, heat, friendship, or entertainment, Newfoundland and Labradorians have always gathered in the main room of the home. Family meals, cards, stories, songs, dancing, and the best place to be on those cold, cold winter's nights. The memories of that evening are etched in my mind forever, as I'm sure they are in the others who attended. All hands together, not just a group of people in the same place, but also, as you've seen throughout this program, friends and family holding hands for encouragement, strength, energy, and that feeling you're not on your own and there's always someone there holding your hand to help you get through this. Since that night in 2007, many of the people have passed away, we all have aged, and some have changed. But all who remain still tell the stories and sing the songs that will always remind us of nights like this and how lucky we were to have them. Although at present COVID-19 prevents us from these type of gatherings, but there's no doubt in my mind, in time we will do this again. We will return with our families and friends to the kitchen. Life will be sweeter when this is all over. We will cherish our friends and our families much more. The seasons will change, but we will again gather when we push the COVID right out the back door. So long live the kitchen party. May the days not be long till we can meet and celebrate in the heart and soul of the home again. All hands together.